making a difference. This is 27 News at 6.
Last week, we showed you the struggle that disabled drivers go through to try to fill up their cars with gas.
A member of the Madison's Commission on People with Disabilities saw our story. Today, he said it's time for a change.
Carla Nelly spoke with Jeff Erlanger, who's looking to see if Madison can pass a law aimed at gas stations to get them to put buttons on for disabled.
Pretty much, and also buttons down low, and really this is an issue that affects people in wheelchairs probably the most. And so it probably might surprise you then that the man who was asking for a change and who saw our story last week says that he didn't even know there was a problem. When Ron Barr tried to fill up his minivan last week, this call button for help was just out of reach. So he had to spend 20 minutes leaving his vehicle, finding a clerk, and getting back in. It's a process he repeats every time his needle hits empty.
And once I saw the story, it made all the sense in the world to me that this was something that if it's not being governed by law, should be governed.
Jeff Erlanger sits on Madison's Commission for People with Disabilities. He now wants to require call buttons placed much lower to the ground.
Clearly, the gas issue, we can't create it. We can't propose an ordinance, but we can advise the mayor and the council that maybe an ordinance should be made.
Erlanger would like to see something like this at the pumps. The fuel call is a large button. It's clearly marked and easy to push, though the concept right now is in its infancy. Madison-based oil equipment company began advertising it this month to Wisconsin gas stations.
I think it's relatively new, something that I think, though, in the next year or two, the more we get out there, it's like anything. Once somebody does it, the rest are going to follow along.
Whether driver demand or a law brings better access to area gas stations, Erlanger said it's going to take awareness, because he's in a wheelchair, and even he did not know this was an issue.
I even have to remember that, and I have a disability.
The Americans with Disabilities Act requires gas station clerks help disabled drivers, but only if 2 or more are on duty. The ADA also does require a call system. It doesn't require where those systems are placed, and so often what you get are buttons that are about here on the pump. People in wheelchairs tell me they need to be about here or lower to really be practical.
All right. Thanks,
It's
Carl.
something so many of us don't even think about.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, Carl. The Madison Commission on People with Disabilities will consider recommendations in March. Lawmakers in Delaware are considering a similar measure. Another in Illinois stalled earlier this month. Opponents there called it an unfair mandate on small businesses.